Today we're sending the world to war until only one continent remains. So on this map I added a couple land bridges, a few from Oceania to Asia because I feel like they always get stuck down here, and then also a few from Europe and North America to Greenland. And for this battle I decided to disable rebellions and enable the 100 people modifier, which will help the nations kind of expand their borders a bit faster, as well as angry villagers, just because it's more fun when more people die. We started off on year 2. Every empire began by constructing basic housing, starting with tents and campfires. Well, except for Oceania, whose people just decided to stand around. Seriously though, what is this guy doing? In year 5, nations started to elect kings, such as Yaphibi of Europe and Ashibiro of Oceania. Year 10, most of the nations had grown to over 10 population, Africa in the lead with 12. They had now grown into a small village with the absolute slowest children I've ever seen in my life. Technology was still very primitive, the nation still only having access to basic housing and weapons. Year 20, Africa seeked to enter into a peace treaty with both Oceania and Europe. Europe chose to decline, but a treaty was formed between Africa and Oceania. Nations also started to expand and construct second colonies, and populations were beginning to grow exponentially fast. And in the year 25, a new alliance was formed, one between Europe, Asia, and South America. North America was the only one without an ally. In the year 30, darkness fell upon the world. Africa still led the world in population, and Europe began to expand their borders towards Greenland. North America was also claiming a lot of land, moving more and more into the east coast, but making the smart move of avoiding Florida. Year 40, the world was still at peace, but sensing a war on the horizon, nations began to build up larger and larger armies. Africa was expanding south, and Oceania had claimed Papua New Guinea. In year 45, the war began. Africa and Oceania had just declared war on North America, and Asia and its allies proposed also joining into the fight. They sent their army up through Greenland, and North America's forces came up to meet them. South America also joined into the fight. So basically, the entire world just went to war with North America. In the year 54, Africa and Asia broke through America's defenses in Greenland. Meanwhile, South America began to funnel into North American colonies. With America's armies having mostly been defeated, Africa and its allies made quick work of capturing their colonies. Thankfully, this was not the end for them though, because in the year 62, a treaty was signed, and North America made peace with the world. They also joined the Shield of Divine Alliance with Europe, Asia, and South America as their new allies. This world peace would not last long though. For now, with such a powerful alliance, nothing stood in the Shield of Divine's way, and in the year 75 they declared war on the rest of the world. Africa managed to hold the line against Europe, but would they survive the reinforcements from North and South America? We'd have to find out. Meanwhile, Oceania struggled against Europe and Asia's forces, and in the year 80 they were completely destroyed. Unfortunately, not 10 seconds after destroying Oceania, a peace treaty was signed that ended the conflict. Asia and South America did not agree with this decision though, and decided they would break free from the treaty. In the year 91, Europe declared war once again on North America, and Asia, trying to take advantage of the conflict, decided to try and claim Europe for their own. This proved to be much more of a challenge than Asia had anticipated though, for Europe having claimed Oceania meant they were surrounded from both sides. Not to mention, Europe now decided to forego the war with America to focus only on Asia, and South America joined into the fight. Asia now had two formidable foes going against them, and only 300 population to fight them with. In the year 118, the world again fell into darkness, and Asia now stood at a measly 175 population left. Their colonies were falling fast. Meanwhile, South America had just declared war on North America, a battle in which North America was greatly outnumbered. The South stood at nearly 400 soldiers, whereas the North stood at only 54. But North America had something South America didn't: the great soldier and American hero Shaheno, who was killed in about 7 seconds. In the year 125, after almost completely annihilating Asia, Europe proposed a treaty to become allies with Africa and Asia once again. The war also waged on between the Americas, North America having been pushed into Canada. Colony after colony came under South American control, until it was just Alaska left, which, with no army to defend themselves with, fell easily to South America. South America had become a formidable empire, standing now at 1,500 population. In the year 135, Africa had unfortunately been snubbed from joining the peace treaty between Asia and Europe, and instead they decided to team up against them. At year 150, the war had not progressed much though, neither Africa or Europe being able to claim even a single colony from each other. Except for Madagascar, which was claimed by one guy somehow. Yeah, apparently Madagascar was just not very well defended. Like, like at all. Africa now stood at 800 population, Europe with 1500, Asia with 200, and South America with nearly 2000 population. South America also joined the battle against Africa, hoping to claim some of their land for themselves. South America aimed for the western colonies, whereas Europe attacked the east. And Asia, well, they just kind of tried their best. In year 170, the war was coming to a close. Africa now stood at just 2 colonies left, and South America was relentless on their assault, sending every soldier they had into the last remaining colonies. Soon, Africa was conquered. South America now stood at 2,500 population, Europe at 1,900, and Asia at 300. Asia and Europe still remained allies. Now having gained much more land and soldiers, in the year 180, South America set their sights on total world domination. They declared war on Europe and Asia, hoping to completely wipe them off the continent. Being greatly outnumbered in Africa, South America's colonies quickly fell to Europe. They started with the South African colonies and made their way east. And in the year 193, South America had been completely pushed out of Africa, and now Europe set their sights on reclaiming their Eastern European colonies. And in the year 200, they were successful in their efforts. Europe now outnumbered South America, standing at a great 2,600 population. Their army size also matched that of South America. Then after a nearly 30-year struggle that seemed for a long while to be a stalemate, Europe finally began to gain some ground on the land bridge between Europe and Greenland. But still, with constant reinforcements flooding into Greenland, their advance was incredibly slow, and it wasn't until the year 275 that they were able to claim Greenland, and the year 320 that they set foot on Canadian soil. But with that defense finally broken through, it was just a matter of time before Europe could defeat South America, and just 20 years later, nearly half of their colonies had fallen. South America had now dropped below 1,000 population, and their numbers were rapidly decreasing. In the year 341, the eastern states fell, followed by Mexico and southern Argentina, and soon South America was no more. There was only one thing left for Europe to do if they wanted the world. They betrayed their Asian allies. Asia stood no chance at all, and Europe walked right through their cities. And in a matter of just a few years, they had been completely annihilated. At year 400, Europe had conquered the entire world. But at what cost?